A major political controversy has erupted in the United States after the Democratic Socialists of America, DSA, a prominent left-wing group with ties to politicians such as New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, published a forceful statement condemning the U.S. military operation in Venezuela and demanding the return of Nicolás Maduro to power. U.S. captures Maduro, triggering backlash. On January 3rd, 2026, U.S. forces conducted a military operation in Venezuela that resulted in the arrest of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores. The couple was taken into custody without U.S. military casualties and transported to the United States to face criminal charges related to drug trafficking and narco-terrorism. The operation, celebrated by President Donald Trump as a success, has reshaped diplomatic and domestic political conversations. The Trump administration argues Maduro oversaw large-scale drug trafficking operations that funneled millions of pounds of cocaine into the United States, and that his arrest brings long overdue justice for Venezuelans and Americans alike. DSA calls the operation an illegal war. In response, the Democratic Socialists of America issued a lengthy rebuke calling the military action an illegal war and regime change operation. The group alleges a U.S. move aimed at installing a puppet government to control Venezuela's oil resources and expand U.S. influence in Latin America, a claim the DSA dubbed the new Trump corollary to Monroe Doctrine. Although critics of U.S. policy have questioned motives and tactics, the DSA went further. It demanded Maduro and his wife be returned to Venezuela and reinstated to power, along with the immediate end to what it called a failed war on drugs and removal of U.S. military presence in the Caribbean region. The group also called on Americans to protest and resist the operation and stand in solidarity with the Venezuelan people. Political ties to Zohran Mamdani. The DSA statement noted its connections to progressive elected officials, including Zohran Mamdani, who was elected mayor of New York City in November 2025. Mamdani personally called President Trump to express opposition to this act, arguing it violated international law and represented unwarranted regime change. However, the mayor's office has not publicly clarified whether he endorses all the DSA's specific demands. The situation has drawn sharp debate within U.S. politics. While some progressives agree with calls for scrutiny of U.S. interventionism, many mainstream Democrats have distanced themselves from the more extreme rhetoric calling for Maduro's return to power. Broader conservative and liberal reactions. Republicans and other Trump allies have overwhelmingly supported the operation, framing the capture of Maduro as a triumph against drug trafficking and anti-American authoritarianism. Meanwhile, moderates within the Democratic Party have criticized Trump for bypassing Congress and acting unilaterally, raising legal and constitutional questions. At the same time, other left-wing activists and politicians, including some far-left figures beyond the DSA, have used the episode to mobilize opposition to U.S. foreign policy, declaring a need for broader resistance to what they see as imperialist actions abroad. What happens now? Maduro and Flores remain in U.S. federal custody in Brooklyn, where legal proceedings are expected to unfold. The demands by the DSA have no legal force, but underscore deep ideological divisions in America over foreign intervention, political solidarity movements, and the reach of U.S. military power. As the political fallout continues, the debate highlights how international events, like the dramatic capture of a foreign leader, can quickly become flashpoints in domestic politics, dividing lawmakers, activists, and voters across the ideological spectrum.